perks. There are a lot of perks to travel nursing. Hello, my living whole friends. We are back for a little different style of video, and the reason why I just felt like I had to film this today was I was kind of reflecting on how Living Whole has evolved, what the process has been, and how much it has grown from not only the first of the year or December of 2018 when I decided to open my own office until now, as well as when it started back in 2015, 2016. It's been a couple years now and a very slow road to build, all the while I was travel nursing. And travel nursing completely changed my life. And my specialty is in the field of cardiac catheterization, electrophysiology, as well as interventional radiology. I love cardiac cath and EP. It is by far the bread and butter to what I do. I love cardiac disease. If you guys have been around here, I don't love cardiac disease. I love our heart and our hemodynamics within the body, and I love taking care of really sick people. And that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm a critical care nurse, and so I graduated nursing school, went straight into ICU, and it's what I love. So yeah, Living Whole, among my life experiences during traveling, it's how it was born. And I have to talk about that for a minute and embrace the background and embrace my professional life besides Living Whole. As a board certified holistic health practitioner, I'm a highly skilled cardiac cath and electrophysiology nurse that has been traveling the United States for 5 years now, and it was both the scariest decision I ever decided to embark on with my boyfriend, now husband at the time, but it's also been the most pivotal and the best decision I have ever made. My specialty is cardiac cath and EP. If you are having a heart attack, need a pacemaker, an ablation for AFib, all of those things, I'm the face you see. I had realized in 2014 that I had traveled for small vacations for family, and we had been to Peru and some other small travel like Cozumel and things like that, but I had not really experienced life out of the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. And I decided, I think it's time. I think it's something that I need to do. My husband was teaching at the university, and for you guys that don't know, he is an artist. You can check him out at notkevinarnold.com, but he has shown internationally, and so we were in a position to say, let's go travel. And so we did that, and I was very naive. We ended up in Beckley, West Virginia, my very first travel assignment. It was quite an experience, but that's kind of how we chose to do that. It was more, I need to get out. We both needed to get out and just experience life in the world, and that's exactly what we did. Travel nursing. When I tell people I'm a travel nurse, there's either people that know people that have traveled, or they're like, what is that? What is travel nursing? Travel nursing is where you travel and you work as a nurse. Typically, assignments are 13 weeks, so you can expect about 3 months in an area of your choice. There's a huge shortage of nurses, specifically in my specialty area, in ICU, ER, peds, NICU, there's just a huge shortage of nurses, and people are living longer and are much sicker, and hospital demand and nursing school supply, something's not computing there. So there are a shortage of nurses, especially in areas that are very privileged and have the political backing and political policy that implement safe nurse to patient ratios, which improve healthcare and keep your loved ones safe. The first step is getting very good experience in whatever area you want to work in. So if you are looking at being a cath lab nurse, bare minimum, you need a year or two in ICU, and you need a year or two of cath lab experience. And that is just giving you the tools to step into the lab with the confidence and the grit, the experience to know that you can step into the lab and be a safe provider. You need to have a good footing in what you do and be very comfortable, yet not overconfident and think you know it all, because then you could hurt someone. You need that experience first. Second step is you work with travel nursing agencies. Some are good, some are very bad, and at the end of the day, they're about the business, and you have to treat your own personal, as you are your own business. So you have to be smart, and you have to ask questions, and you have to not just say, yeah, okay, I'll take that rate. Be smart. So know your practice, know your skill, work with a company, then you interview with a hospital. Based on that interview, your agency will say, hey, they want to move forward with the contract. You get your contract, you sign, seal, deliver. You read every single word to that contract, because at the end of the day, that is the only thing that saves your tail. We'll get into tips here in a bit, but you sign a contract, and then you embark to whatever location you're going to be at for the next 13 weeks. So that is just a down and dirty how travel nursing works. And there's a lot of ins and outs to this. I could film a whole nother video if you guys are interested in a more in-depth travel nursing how-to and what to expect and my own personal experiences. If you're interested in that, comment down below, because I could talk for days about this. And everybody that I meet that is new to traveling, or even seasoned travelers, I gain a lot of information from them, and vice versa. You're just a small group of people that decided to live an adventurous life, a life of wanderlust. So that is the down and dirty to travel nursing. If you're interested in another video, let me know. If you have specific questions, you can email me. I'm always an open book for people as a resource, because it took me years to figure out some of the things that I have learned, and some of which were the hard way. Our personal travel journey, we ended up in Beckley, West Virginia for the first one. Very naive to travel nursing and what to expect. We have traveled coast to coast. I mean, you name it, we've probably been there. I traveled predominantly for wanderlust. I wanted the experience, so we've hit all the high places in the way of Tampa, Florida, Key West, Colorado twice, gallivanted around that state. It's absolutely beautiful and I love it. We've been to the Northeast, been to Seattle, the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, Central Coast of California. It's been a remarkable experience, and I'm so grateful. My husband and I have gotten to experience things I never ever thought I would have gotten to experience, from Key West to the Redwoods to, my goodness, we've been to Hanging Lake, Yosemite, Yellowstone, even spots in the Northeast like Block Island. We've been to New York, I mean, countless times because of that. Disney World, countless times. And so our life has been so enriched. So there's a lot of perks that come with travel nursing, but there's also some cons, and then we'll get into like my tips and just a quick overview. And if you guys have specific questions, again, email me, comment down below. I'm here to help. So there are a lot of perks to travel nursing. One is that, I think the first one is that you get to create your own adventure. So you are going to this wonderful place. It may not be wonderful. The hospital might actually be terrible, and the people you work with might actually be very hard to work with, given whatever's going on at the facility, because there's always a reason that you're there and you are a visitor. So be respectful and helpful and smile. So create your own adventure, and within this doesn't include vacation. So in the time that you're living in whatever spot you're at, you get to live and experience that region of the United States, which can be pretty phenomenal, and it can be pretty hilarious, and just not all of it's like fantastic. I've experienced regionally, I can name some areas of the United States where I'm like, they are the worst drivers, or we have seen the craziest stuff. But you get to create your own adventure, and you have to have the perspective and the spirit to just enjoy your life. So the other perk number 2, I think, is that you get to create your own vacation time. This for me is a little bit of a soapbox in traveler etiquette. You have the opportunity to take 1 week to however long you want before a contract and after a contract. Staff, as a staff nurse or staff tech, whatever your role is within the lab, you only get your allotted vacation time. So if you as a traveler are there to help for whatever reason, short staffing, they need call coverage, there's a lot of different reasons. You have to always remember to be respectful of the staff and the facility because you are there to help. I'm not saying you need to take all the call and burn yourself out, and you still have to have a quality of work-life balance. However, don't sign up for a 13-week contract and expect a 2 to 3 week vacation in the midst of that contract. And you're interviewing and telling the hospital you're gonna need 2 to 3 weeks off, unless it's some family situation or something. Plan your vacation time, create your own vacation time in a respectful way. But there are hard stops. Like if I sign up for a 13-week assignment and the facility and I hit it off and I plan to extend, or I'm going to extend, or they want me to extend, and I know that I'm like, I need a week or 2 off, I am so upfront about that. Say, I am more than happy to extend. In fact, we can start the date at this time. I have this trip planned. It was out of the context of our initial contract. Therefore, can you work with that? So just be respectful of using your own perks, because your perks a lot of times as a traveler outweigh the staff perks, and they're tired and haven't had a vacation, and there's just a lot of reasons why you're there. So number 2 perk is you get to decide and create your own vacation, alongside perk number 1, which is you're creating your own adventure and just living and working in a different region of the United States. There's a lot of perks to it, but you work really hard, and you can sometimes take a lot of shit. So perk number 3, I think, is the financial aspect to travel nursing. If you travel smartly, you will be able to be very financially taken care of. So you have to be mindful of, one, not only what's in your contract, but also state laws in regards to overtime and double time, your callback hours. And this is specifically for like cath lab per se, but there's a lot of things that within how you function in the department, you kind of need to be aware of. Some facilities will have a 4-hour callback rate given, like that's your base, where standard is typically 2. So that comes with a little bit of experience and talking to people, but the perk to traveling is partly due to the financial stability and the financial gain that you can get from it. This is kind of a controversial thing to say. Travel nursing isn't what it used to be 8-9 years ago. It is much more regulated. So the GSA and those government stipends and your tax-free money, they're all a little bit more regulated. So be smart and protect yourself financially with the appropriate tax practices. Talk to other people, know rates. If that rate sounds like a low rate for that area, don't just say yes to it. You have some wiggle room. You can negotiate your contract. You can negotiate your pager pay. There are things where I'm very much a stickler of. I will not take an on-call pay less than a certain amount of number, and my weekly take home has to be a certain amount number that I'm willing to work for. And that sounds kind of prissy and whatever, but when we get into the cons, I think there's this misconception that travelers make all this crazy amounts of money and staff kind of can get a little pissed about it. But it's not as, it's lucrative, but it's not as crazy as you think. A lot of times there's the stress and some of the cons, which we'll get into. Not everybody decides to travel, and sometimes in certain assignments or contracts, it's not worth the money. And so you have to kind of weigh and be smart and travel smartly in order to reap the financial benefit to it. So the 4th perk has to be and that's something that I think I've gained a lot of satisfaction from has been the perspective and the skill that you gain with each assignment and with each experience. And so I have picked up skills and tools in my tool belt for making me multidimensional within the lab, making a much more prized employee, if that makes sense. So the experience and the skill and just the knowledge base that I now possess versus when I was in cath lab just starting out. Again, part of that comes with growth, but part of that comes with exposure to different skills and the way people do things. So We all know that person in the unit, on the floor, in the lab, that's like, this is the way we've always done it. I've met those people, and there are a varied way of doing things. Varied. So if you are a traveler and you, also kind of a tip, if you're a traveler and you encounter that, this is the way we've always done it, why don't you know this? This is how it's done. Just smile and say, well, you know, I've seen it done a lot of different ways. Show me how you guys do it here. Because really, you're a visitor, as long as you maintain safe practice and safe patient care, then modifying your own, how you hang a pressure bag or how they like their patients hooked up to the hemodynamic monitoring system. Monitor and adjust to the situation that you're in, provide safe care and provide quality patient care, and you're gonna be all right. New perspective and skill is definitely a perk. It's huge, but perk number 5 and the most enriching to my life, I think, that I've encountered, that I've gained from travel nursing, have been really the relationships with amazing people along the way. I have friends and dear friends and people that I call my people, and I talk with them either on a daily or a weekly basis. These are my people, and I would have never met or made those relationships without traveling. And with cath lab, and I think with ICU and maybe even ER, you guys in high acuity areas know what I'm talking about when you say there's a different, like your work family, as much of a dysfunctional family as they can be with different personalities, and cath lab being a very, you just gotta love cath lab. It's just, anyway, I'm a little biased, but there is a certain vibe and a certain culture to cath lab that unless you have been in a good cath lab and you understand not only the fun and the camaraderie, you're in the trenches with these people, you're gonna see their shining face at 2 a.m. trying to keep a patient alive. The good ones become your people, and they're connections that will last a lifetime. And this is my own personal, I love all my cath lab people, and if you're watching, you are amazing. So, ooh, chills. Those are probably, if I can narrow it down to like 5 vague, blanketed, big umbrella perks, those are the perks to travel nursing, and they're pretty damn good. Like they are pretty fantastic. Now the cons, guys, dun dun dun. The cons to travel nursing, goodness gracious. These can be, depending on your experience and depending on your perspective, this can be a long laundry list, or these can be bulleted. And personally, I think it's my perspective and maybe experience that I can only think of 5 or 6 that I'm like, these are the boogers, because the rest of, I mean, it's kind of a balance between give and take and trade off for the positives. First con to traveling is you are giving up your home, your sanctuary, your nest of wonderfulness. If you love your home, like Kevin and I do, and this is just we have hummingbirds, we have our plants and family, and this is a safe, wonderful, relaxing space for us. And we've built that through traveling. So we've upgraded our home. We've been able to do different things because of traveling. We are completely debt free because of travel nursing. So the perks are there, but you do give that up for 13 plus weeks or so. The second con would be the stress that comes with each new assignment. For me personally, there's always a little bit of anxiety for, I'm going to be the new kid on the block. I have to kind of this is gonna sound kind of confident and cocky in a way, but being a young, pretty face in the cath lab, there's almost like you kind of have to prove yourself not only as a female, but kind of like, how old are you? I'm like, I've had to tell people my age several times because they're like, and how long have you been in the cath lab? And then I'll just tell them and they're like, no, you haven't. I'm like, I'm gonna show you how good I am, and then you know, and then you'll just back up off. So the stress with each new assignment. Then you have the travel in between. For me, we travel with Fitz, he's somewhere around there, but traveling with an animal as well, I love him more than life itself. And so he's got his giant carrier, and I'm always worried and stressed about making it as comfortable for him and creating a home environment for him. And he's like a little military brat. He's just like, oh good, new adventure, ha ha ha. And I'm like, is he gonna be okay? So it's just the stress between each assignment, and then you add in my husband is an artist and I need to make sure that he has an adequate studio space so he can work and do things. And so we are not the ideal cath lab or travel nurse kind of couple. There's just a little more layers to that add in that stress, and that's just our own personal lives. If you're young, you're single, and you're like, I'm gonna go see the world, and I got a lot of friends that are like that, and you know, I highly recommend it. So it's just different lifestyles. But I kind of hit on this with being the new kid on the block, but you almost have to, that is a con. And there is the pro to making friends with each new assignment. It's a huge, again, probably one of my most favorite things. Within that is you have a new script or a new, like, what you have to say every 13 weeks, and everybody wants to know who's this, where you're from, how long you've been traveling, you travel with who, are you married, what do you do, blah. Like, you just have this new, like, new kid where it's like, oh hi, but you can't become, my god, I've said these things for the past 4.5, 5 years, like how many, you can't be like that. So you have to have that conversation and then engage, and you know, who are you, how are you, remembering names. And it's just you're the new kid on the block, so you have to be mindful and just grin and put it and smile. Like I'm listing it as a con, but you know, for some people that's like a huge plus. The fourth con I've been really lucky as a traveler. Most all of the facilities that I've been to have been very, very traveler friendly once they learn me and know that I'm there to help. I'm not there to like save the day. I'm there like, how do you guys do things? I'm a visitor in your house. Like, how can I be the most help for you? Because that's what I'm here for. That makes a huge difference. So I've been really lucky, but I have worked at facilities where there's a lot of tension amongst staff. They're, you know, either nurses and techs are like pitted against each other, or, which I completely don't understand. We're all on level playing field. I've worked in other places too where they're not traveler friendly. They think that we're making all this money and trying to take their jobs, and it's like, dude, no, I'm just here to help. So how can I help you? So you will meet different personalities, and some of those people are really just, if you look past the kind of gruff exterior, they're just burnt out and they've been there for a long time. And so, and they've been through some shit, and management may have not made the best decisions. They don't feel valued. They don't feel like their voice is heard. So within that, number 5 is staff tension and drama and politics. And so the perk, this is another perk, this is truly a perk. When you're a traveler, mind your own business. You are not there to be a part of the drama and politics. You rise above it. My favorite thing is not being involved in that shit. Like, no thank you. I don't need to know what so-and-so's doing. Let's put our head down. Let's take really good care of our patients. And I like to be so busy that I'm not available for people to fill their time with telling me the digs, because I don't need to know it. So con though, staff tension from either, for whatever reason that you're there, and we've kind of talked about that, or just staff tension with, there can be some personalities. Again, that's everywhere though. So number 6 to cons for travel nursing, I think, is just the sheer fact that you are there for a reason. You're not there to necessarily fix the system. The wheels on the bus may be barely hanging on, but you are there to help and to take really good care of your patients. So whatever reason, could be a con, it could be a mass exodus of staff, it could be understaffed, it could, there's a myriad of reasons why you're there. Or it could be something as innocent and benign as they have 3 women out on maternity leave and they need some coverage. Those are the perks and the cons, the pros and the cons to travel nursing. I have 7 quick tips to travel nursing. The first we kind of talked about, it's treat it like your business. Be smart, talk to people, do your research, know your companies. There are some terrible, terrible companies out there. Know your resources, treat it like your business. Your contract is the only thing that's gonna cover your tail, and you have to act professional. Every facility you walked into, you are your business. You are the product, you are the commodity, you are the service. So take a lot of pride in what you do and do it right. So again, I'm gonna try to finish this. My second tip is to figure out your hard no's or your hell yeses, and this applies to the contract. So both financially, physically, within housing and different things, I have some no's. I'm not going to accept this, this, and this, and these are my, okay, if you can give me this, we'll talk. So figure out what you want to gain, what you're willing to compromise. That's a huge deal, is what you're willing to compromise. But be very smart about things and shop around. This has to deal with companies. You can look at facilities. You can join Facebook groups and different, like talk to other travelers and join some Facebook groups. But within that, take everything with a grain of salt and a smile. So it's like when you're planning to go to a restaurant and you're reading restaurant reviews and you hear like some ridiculous ass review that, I don't know, you're just like, well, they couldn't help that, or they had this, or, you know, you're just like, this person sounds crazy. Travel nursing is a small group of people in the grand scheme of the professional world. So be smart, talk to people, and do your research, and take everything with a grain of salt and a smile. And then my tip, I don't know what tip number 5, whatever this is, the very best thing that you can ever do, again, in treating it like your business, is remain neutral, remain calm, and stay above all the drama and the shit. So rise above it. You're there to take really good care of patients and just put your head down and help out. Enjoy your adventure, enjoy your coming vacation and your financial stability. Just mind your business. Do what you're supposed to and work really hard. The last tip, really, I have always been extended or offered to extend. In some places I've politely declined, and all but one spot, because they knew I had just started traveling and I would never move to West Virginia, I've been offered a job. So my final tip is to work hard, work well with others. It's not about you. And remember that the priority at the end of the day is the patient. Nothing else matters. So have a really good work ethic, be respectful and cognizant of others and the people that you're working with, but also at the end of the day, the priority is the patient.